partnership, Garth Crooks and Steve Archibald, against Nottingham Forest new signings, Ian Wallace and Raimondo Ponti, the Swiss international, who together cost roughly the same figure. And Brian Clough, would you believe it, joins our first Sunday programme, and in a very relaxed mood he's in too. We cover Leicester, last season's second division champions, against Ipswich, and their manager, Bobby Robson, criticises some of his colleagues.
Yes, but until you get everybody, John, working for the same aim, you've got no chance, because there's always one manager or one player or one chairman who will step out of line. You can agree on a formula, you know, you can agree on procedures, but power and glory and money converts anything sometimes, unfortunately, and that is regrettably.
For our third mini-match, we'll show the essential highlights of the Sheffield Wednesday Newcastle game and recapture some nostalgic moments in the history of that famous Yorkshire club. There's a sending off in that game too, which is ridiculed a little bit by those present.
And for all the pessimism about this new season, there was one highly encouraging note yesterday. All 46 Football League matches produced at least one goal, and that hasn't happened for 6 years. Later, we'll be bringing you the up-to-date news on two big First Division transfers, one that's gone through in the last few minutes, as well as telling you about the club where two unsettled stars are likely to stay, and another where the whole team want to leave.
Well, I nearly forgot to tell you about one of our new features, The Fan Talks to the Manager, but more about that later. But now it's sunshine at White Hart Lane for over 43,000 fans, Spurs and Nottingham Forest, and your commentator, Barry Davis.
The superstition of the new boys decided Tottenham's numbering. Neither of them wanted to wear number 9. In defence, Mark Kendall and John Lacey get their chance after playing only 7 games between them last season. For the Argentines, Diaz and Villa, it's the start of their 3rd season with Tottenham, careers which began against Forest in Nottingham 2 years ago. Brian Clough has had his problems off the field in the build-up weeks, but both Birtles and Robertson, who've had their differences with the manager, are included in the lineup. Bryn Gunn replaces the injured Viv Anderson at right back, and David Needham is the choice at centre-half. So in an atmosphere of doubt about its future and debate about its right to invade the British summertime so early, we have lift-off in the 82nd Football League season. If the game is still sport, then the dictionary tells us that it should be amusement, diversion, fun. If it's totally business, then it has a need to be a risk business, and as such, exciting to its true shareholders, the spectators. And there are plenty here on a very warm afternoon at White Hart Lane, a temperature I would have thought pushing into the 80s here. Spurs in white shirts and dark shorts. There's Gordon Smith. And Ardiles marked by Needham, and the free kick given against Needham. Smith with Villa just inside him, and Bryn Gunn with the challenge. Villa, Ardiles, Needham away. Steve Perriman coming from the back for Tottenham. Archibald got up well, found Crooks, burns across. Height of Archibald's jump certainly surprised Needham. Yorath, Villa, I think he wanted that to touch straight on to Archibald, but here is Crooks. Good goalkeeping by Peter Shilton. He was out very quickly, and though he didn't make the ball off Crooks at the first attempt, such was the power of his dive that it was enough to put Crooks off. Houghton with Ardiles forward on the right side. Once again, Tottenham in possession, have a front line of 4. And they have another free kick for another push. And you may pick up the shout of "get out." It's coming from Peter Shilton, telling his defenders to move up. Comes down to Villa, to Archibald, took it nicely, fine save. Lovely piece of football. Ended after Archibald had pulled the ball down so well, created the room for himself. He was denied by a fine save from Peter Shilton. Villa with the corner. Birtles who got it away. Oh, and Smith who got it through to Villa, but he was offside. If it's possible for the crowd to get any warmer, they've certainly done so after that fine piece of football by Archibald. Archibald, well up again, this time by Crooks, and Archibald once more. Very cool, but can he put it away? No, he can't. It's arguable that we'll now be looking at a second slow motion, because it did seem to go into slow motion then. After Crooks had got up well in the air, Archibald took so much time, so coolly, but he went rather wide. Forrest got 2 men back on the line. He tried for height and got too much. Burns, Gray and Ardiers. Stays in. Oh, comes back to Ardiers, very fortunately. Huddle. Well, there was more sting than one might have imagined. But perhaps that's because I imagine quite a few people in the ground were looking for the curled one to the top. Peter Shilton's team finished in 5th place in the league last season. Runners-up in the League Cup and winners, of course, of the European Cup. Backing in by Birtles on Lacey. We've had half an hour of the match. We still wait for the opening goal of the season here. Here's Archibald. And the referee says goal kick. Burns lost it. Archibald thought he might have got away. Burns challenged. Spurs supporters at least hoped that they might get a penalty, but Mr. Spencer was not prepared to supply it. Lacey. Ardiers nicely down to Huddle. He's been very much the deeper of the two. Offside against Crooks and Archibald. Houghton. Wallace. And Tottenham with all back bar too. Needham. Offside against Birtles. After a bright start, the game suffering a little bit from the fact that defenders seem to know too much for attackers. And that's been an all too familiar story in football the world over in recent years. Birtles. Well done by Wallace. Ponte. Gunn just behind him. McGovern square of Gunn with the shooting chance. Which in cricket parlance he's somewhat flashed at. Just a quick, simple break, started by Wallace, Ponte, Gunn, and finally McGovern with the shot, which he didn't really give himself time to take. Diaz. Archibald, just the wrong side of the post. When he got the power on it, a beautifully flighted cross by Ozzy Ardiles. Shilton, I think, would have covered it, to be fair to him, if it had been just the other side of the post. Really lovely cross from Ardiles. Reach half-time with a blank score sheet. Although Steve Archibald might be reflecting that he could have had 3. One fine save from Shilton and 2 chances that just went away. Trevor Spencer adding to his suntan, gets the second half underway, and it really is very, very warm. Much more seen of Tottenham as an attacking force in the first period. But after a bright start, they faded somewhat until the opportunity that RDS set up right at the end of the half. It's Bertels. First time he's had a chance to run at anybody, but he ran straight at Perriman. McGovern. Spurs had to wait until their 4th game for their first league victory last season. And the season before they had to wait until their 5th. Archibald make something of that. Need him forcing him away, need support, Hoddle coming square. First time crack to a ball, not particularly well laid actually. Forest central defenders have made the odd mistake to worry Peter Shilton. Lacey has done well enough on his recall so far. Crooks. Villa. Chris Houghton, wearing 3 but playing it right back. Hoddle. Oh, that might run for Ardiles. Was he pulled? Surely he was pulled. And the referee gives the penalty. No question that he was pulled by David Needham. Super through ball from Hoddle. Peter Shilton goes to complain. But the only complaint that Forest might have is that the first pull, which didn't bring the little fellow down, was outside the box. But the one that really put him off balance was inside, in my opinion. And Glenn Hoddle has the chance from the penalty spot. 7 penalties he scored last season out of 22, and that's his first of this season. So Tottenham's top scorer of last season with that total of 22 scores their first here. Sending Peter Shilton the wrong way. And that's awoken the crowd from its slumbers. Foul by Smith. Tottenham pulling all back by Crooks. Needham is up, so is Bowyer, so is Kendall. And Forest have got 3 back. Tottenham now 4 forward. Oh, that's a great ball! But it's just going to be reached by Shilton. Another good through ball by Huddle. He didn't get many through in the first half, has already played 2 very useful ones in this. Then Huddle's ability to clip the ball first time forward to these front players is going to be a useful weapon for Tottenham. Robertson, Houghton arrived just in time. Bowyer. An offside flag anyway. Backing in by Archibald on Needham. Forest really yet to suggest that they're going to pull back this goal deficit. Haven't really seen much of them as an attacking force. They've been a bit of an odd assortment. Kick from further back, I think. Smith. Archibald. Took it well, having seemingly lost it. Here is Huddle, there is Crooks, but Burns was in the way and nobody coming in behind Crooks. Diaz. He's getting nearer. Good play by Tottenham. They might have done with giving Crooks more support with the ball in the air. And Diaz shot in the end, just curling away above the crossbar. Perryman, Huddle, Diaz. Smith. Ponte doing some sort of version of the Swiss hold. He'll be playing for his country against England at Wembley in November. Houghton. Huddle. Archibald's back header, miss kick. Oh, fine shot on the turn by Crooks. The miss kick was by Burns. And they've done enough, these front players for Tottenham, to cause a number of errors in the centre of the Nottingham Forest defence. Smith. Wanted Crooks to make a hole for him. Crooks is away! Oh, that's beautiful! Oh, that's brilliant! Well, that will certainly do for starters. Chilton looking very disconsolate as all the Tottenham players want to go to congratulate Garth Crooks. I suspect there was a little bit of fortune with the bounce there as he was round Chilton, but even so, he showed some lovely control to put it away and to put the match, I think, out of Nottingham Forest reach. I think, too, it's fair to say that 2-0 is a justifiable scoreline on the balance of play. Brian Clough looks as though he's going to have defeats in the first match. Wallace. Wallace again. It's too far away from Bowyer. He's got a lot to do to turn, and he does well. Did extremely well then, Bowyer, because it was running away, clipped it back, almost back from the angle from which he'd come. It was the head of Birtles that just wasn't able to put it in, as Tottenham had given it up, I think. A lack of concentration in the Spurs defence, who obviously felt like I did that Bowyer wasn't going to be able to make it. Needham, Lacey away. Frank Gray, Robertson, Smith to him this time. Houghton behind. Goal kick. Robertson goes to kick the ball. It's not really had a very happy opening 90 minutes to a season. And the Spurs making a substitution. It's Ozzy Ardiaz who's got on. And replaced by the Irishman, Jerry Armstrong. Crowd shouting there's only one Ardiaz, and he's certainly done enough, and acknowledging the applause. Gray. Long run for Ponte, but he makes it. Wallace, denied by Perryman, still gets a chance, and more than a little unlucky. He certainly battled without finding too much success. Applaud a very satisfactory opening performance by Tottenham, highlighted by the individual goal from Garth Crooks, added to the one score from the penalty spot by Hoddle after Ardiaz had been mauled down. Scored 22 last season, he scored their first this. Crooks followed it. Forest very disappointing, with only the performance of Ponte, I would think, to please Brian Clough and Peter Taylor. 2-0, final score to Spurs, who get off to a winning start.
Well, perhaps a surprising result that for some, and a surprise too in our next contributor to the programme, the Nottingham Forest manager Brian Clough, who agreed to talk to us yesterday, and here's what he thought about the game and his two new signings.
Hard game for them to settle in, but as you know, young Wallace is a player of high ability.
Yeah.
He'll repay his fee, that exorbitant fee that you demanded. He'll repay it over and over again with the goals he'll get. But obviously coming to Tottenham on the first match, it's not the easiest of opening games for him. He got a broken nose in Amsterdam and he's just recovered and all that type of thing, but he did quite well. And young Ponte did well as well.
He showed a lot of aggression, Ponte particularly, I
Yes.
thought, when the team was down. He looked as if he didn't like losing, which should please
Well,
you.
he's keen and he's enthusiastic, and
he wasn't bought for his aggression, he was bought for his ball playing ability. So if we can get him aggressive and ball playing, then we can't go wrong.
No. Now, that's the new players, and I realise that you're reasonably satisfied, but what about the old players? Would you have been satisfied with their performance today, one or two?
I thought Peter Shilton was superb.
Yeah.
The penalty decision, you know the rules at a good and a well-run club. You don't discuss penalty decisions, you don't discuss referees. You do that enough for everybody.
Would you like me to give a verdict on it tomorrow, an independent, honest one for you?
Well, I wouldn't like you to do anything.
You can't say.
You make your decisions, what to do on the programme. So we don't discuss penalties. We get some and we get some for and some against. But up until the penalty, we thought we were in with a reasonable chance. And away from home, when you have to defend, if you can defend, then you always live in hope of going and getting a goal or 2 goals. And we weren't too happy with the 2 goals we conceded, but we never are.
Do you think that Nottingham Forest are going to be the power in the league that they were, shall we say, a couple of seasons ago? Because last season was a quiet season for you.
Well, a quiet season if you finish 5th, obviously. It just depends what standards you judge us by. What we do know is that we're a better team than last season and we will not finish lower than 5th. So we've got to be on the improvement. Although, on our record so far over 90 minutes, we're 1 goal adrift.